I'm going to be breaking down the technique of the punters who attended the 2025 NFL Combine. While they all have their own unique style, there's a few things they do in common that make them really good that you can apply to your technique as well. Let's get into it. So starting off with Kei Kroeger. Lets that ball come to him. Short first step as he's molding the ball to get the laces out. Keeps that ball low and then comes up so that low to high release that you may have heard me talk about before. Gets it nice and steady, has that angled quite straight, which is totally fine. It means when it comes off his foot, it'll turn into a spiral quite quickly. All right, and then, so he's launched into it. Let's see how, so when that toe, we're going to see when that toe comes off here, does this heel strike the ground? And we want that to be as minimal as possible. And that looks really good. We want to be making contact around about here, around that knee height, which is bang on. And then let's look at the follow through. Yeah, really good. So kicks up through it, keeps his head down. And then once his leg comes up into his face, opens up. So that's a good, if you're wondering when you should look up at the ball, I think when that leg comes up, that's a good sign to then open up. All right, eyes down through the kick, then open up as that leg comes through. Okay, Brendan Hall. So he's stepping into it kind of as that ball's come in. So a bit of a longer first step, which is totally fine. Very tall, stays upright, short. Okay, so leading with the heel there on that second step. It's fine, just got to make sure it's short. And then if we look at the way he's molding the ball, so just like Kei, getting those laces out on that almost like upwards 45-degree angle. Looks like it's a little bit in the fingertips here, like it's not quite in the palm of his hand. Again, a bit of a straighter drop, totally fine. Okay, this one though, very much like nose down compared to Kei's. So typically this would be would end up being a bit more of a line drive kick, but that's good, like very flat heel at contact. Pretty good there. Good contact height. Flexibility in the follow through is insane. But you see the difference there, like he's more looking up at the ball through the kick as opposed to Kei kind of waited for his leg to come up. But look at that freaking follow through, insane. All right, next we have Mirco. All right, so very short first step. And you see here the difference in the angle of the ball. So whereas the last two guys were quite straight, Jesse's got it turned in more. Let's look at toe off to heel strike. That's pretty good. Okay, upright posture. You'll just see there though, it looks like that ball has turned in probably a bit more than what he had intended, but we'll be fine if he still kicks up through the middle to front of the ball. This just means like this can work, like this works obviously, opens up the sweet spot. It just takes a little bit longer for that ball to turn into a spiral. So indoors, totally fine. Sometimes into the breeze, if it's a bit windy, it's better to go a little bit straighter. It's like I said, turns into a spiral quicker. But let's see, contact height. Yeah, really good. So again, at that's not a straight line. At that knee level, knee height, really good for hang time. Flat heel at contact, drives up through it. You got Pat McAfee admiring it back there. All right, James Burnip from Alabama. Okay, let the ball come into him. Short first step. Already, again, like all the punters have all got the laces on that upwards 45-degree angle. Okay, it opens up the panel of the ball where you don't hit the seam, like you don't hit the cross section of the ball, which is just like a little 1%er, but makes a difference, especially when the balls are cold. And then what I love, James used to do this really massive low to high, but this is really like settled down and looks really good. So low position, bringing it up, and then let's look at his steps. So this is into his second step. It's like toe, off, heels in the ground, and look at this last one. So I always look at the distance or the time between the back toe coming off to the heel striking of the plant foot, and look at this, it's like the heel has striked before the toes even come off. So he's not in the air, he's balanced. That's really, really impressive. Again, got that ball more turned in than say the first two punters. Looks like it, it looks like it's a little bit inside. So James has got to correct this. He just torques his foot there to somewhat correct it. It's like inside, has to come around, but then still wants to catch the front of the ball to turn it over. And that's what good punters do. They'll make slight adjustments in their swing if the ball drops slightly off. You kind of just see there how it goes from turned in to then almost straightened a touch and then slightly inside. And then one thing I want to point out is his backswing. So you may have seen me talk about it in other videos where you want that, like, if that leg can come up in the backswing, like above parallel, it creates a lot of room or distance for your foot to then accelerate into the forward swing. But I was someone who struggled with this, and you'll see someone like AJ Cole doesn't necessarily have the biggest backswing, but if you have strong, powerful hip flexors, you can definitely make up for that lack of distance to accelerate. And you'll see here he comes flying through, powerful hip flexor, and then quad extension, okay? So to increase your power, your hang time, your distance, hip flexor power is the main thing, and then that bit of quad extension there, and then coming up through the ball. See, James is super balanced through the kick, so short steps on the ground for a long time, up through, and then really controlled, barely, just that little subtle skip. And yeah, he had a really good pro day. Alex Mastromanno, so quick flick of the mold, gets that ball, laces out, short first step, that little bit of low to high, which I mean the snap was low, but I know he's got that low to high motion. Okay, look at the steps, toe off, heel down. So pretty good, just a couple of frames. You just both will go back to, like, again, you can really see here with James how instant it is. But Alex, it's pretty good here. And Alex has got so much power in his legs. So you see the difference there, how much he gets his foot back in the backswing. So then it has that more room to accelerate. So that's one difference he has than James. Contact's looking good, heel's pretty flat on the ground there. You want that shin to be nice and upright. There you go. So not a bigger follow through as like the first two guys, but really doesn't matter because powerful, makes good contact up through the ball and up there. And then you look at someone like Michael Dixon, he breaks at the knee, kind of takes a bit of stress through off your hamstrings and your lower back. Nice balanced. You can see he's not flying too far forward, he's just hopping on the spot there on his plant foot. So he's got a good combination of height there, and I'm sure the distance as well. All right, Jeremy Crawshaw gets a high snap, adjusts. What I love about Jeremy is very short steps. So you see here, like, whereas maybe Brendan was leading with like the heel first and extending that foot out a little bit, so having it a bit more like that. Jeremy's almost gone flat foot and then keeps this like forward shin angle, very much like what Thomas Morstead does. And then let's see, gets the laces out, and this is a bit different one. So the drop, you'll see it's not that low to high, necessarily soft release. It is a bit more, this one's just been kind of placed out there, and then toe off in the plant on the back foot to heel strike. Pretty minimal, not as minimal as James, but very good. And then look at this room in his backswing, all this room to come through, accelerate into the kick. So that is a massive one compared to like James, but again, it all works if you've got the strong hip flexors. And then let's see, all right, so contact's gonna be a little low if we draw a line, say at knee height, and this is gonna be for optimizing for hang time. Probably a little bit like a touch low. All right. So this would probably be a bit more of a line drive kick, but what I love is just how flat his heel is at contact. Okay. See there, through contact, doesn't move. So that's probably the most flattest I've seen. Shins up and down. He'll drive off of that plant foot in the air, trying to get that bit more hang time to make up for that lowish drop. Nice balanced kick, not flying too far forward. Nice and high, getting up through it. Fraser Masin. So short first step. So he's very much got this low to high, arms outstretched, and then he's gonna like bring it up to release it softly. So very different to the other guys we saw. Okay, so got that bit of that step on that first step like Crawshaw, where it's like the whole foot kind of hits the ground first, not necessarily leading out with the heel. So it's nice and short. There you see, bringing that ball up. Bit more of a straighter drop, more like the first two guys. And then let's see here, so from toe off to heel strike. Bang. So there's a couple of frames there. So you can see he does get quite in a long position. Fraser's got so much power in his legs. See, he's put on a lot of size in this last year. But let's have a look at contact. Okay, so it looks like that ball has gone a little bit like nose up, if anything. And then I want to take a look at his plant foot. Okay, so compared to the other guys where they had much more of a flatter plant foot of contact, you'll see Fraser's gone a bit more up on his toe. So that seems like it's come from this outstretched position in the last step. It's more going out, 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 as opposed to out, out, up. So this would be a bit more of it indicates to be a bit more of a line drive kick, but he's got the nose up. So who knows? And he may contact at a good height. So it could very much be a very good ball, but just take a look at your own kicks and see what you're doing with your plant foot. Someone recently like AJ Cole has been getting a bit more forward momentum and getting up onto that toe, but I reckon he's been trying to drive them out and hit those 60 yarders. So just have a look at what you're aiming to do. If you want to get that hang time, try and keep a flat heel at contact. Think out, out, up, as opposed to out, out, out. But again, it all just depends on the type of kick. So some very, very good punters there. All very quick with their hands, short steps, minimal time between toe off and heel strike. Try and get that contact around knee high, open up as that leg comes through. All being coached very, very well. If you want to improve your technique, look at what the best do. See what you can grab from their technique, what you can apply to yours. Understand where you're at in your development and what's going to be best for you in conjunction with the coaches that you work with. And if you would like some personalized coaching from me, make sure you click at the top link in the description and apply for some elite level coaching.